This is AM Agenda. Thanks for being with us this morning. Labor MP Ed Husic and Liberal MP Josh Frydenberg are my guests. Josh, I want to ask you about Peter Slipper's comments to the Sydney Morning Herald. He says, I would not have accepted this position if my election to this office was going to guarantee the government's endurance in office. Yeah, that sounds a bit odd, given that it does certainly make the prospects of a full term look a lot more likely.
Well, look, Peter Slipper only knows himself the reasons why he left the party that had supported him for nearly 30 years. Obviously, I was very disappointed to see him take the Speaker's chair because he was a parliamentary colleague. But he only knows the reasons why he did that, and now we have to deal with different numbers in the House.
Josh, it does seem odd, though, doesn't it? It's obviously, while it might not guarantee the endurance of the government, it certainly makes it look a lot more likely. Are you a bit amused by the comment?
Look, it gives the government a bit more leeway, but let's see how it plays out. As Tony Abbott has said, Peter Slipper is now the government's problem and the government's issue. And so we'll wait and see how this plays out. This has a long way to play, and I think that, you know, what Julia Gillard has done in offering the speakership to Peter Slipper is trashed a very good man in Mr. Jenkins, and Harry Jenkins, who was the Labor Speaker.
Rubbish.
And she did that. And look, I don't know why Harry's taken a $70,000 pay cut, but let's see if something comes his way in the future. Maybe he'll be a future minister ahead of you, Ed. I don't know.
Oh, I don't mind. I mean, there are a lot of good thing about our side of politics is there are a lot of talented people that can step up, and I'm proud to be working with them. But the thing is that you know, this is effectively a problem of the opposition's making, and it fundamentally demonstrates a big divide between what the leader wanted and what the organisation delivered. The leader wanted peace, and the organisation, the Liberal National Party in Queensland, refused to listen to a leader's pleas to just leave this alone. And from their own perspective, if the organisation can't support the leader which everyone recognises is a tight parliament, what is the organisation doing? It's certainly not advancing the leader's interest, and it simply wouldn't have happened on our side of the fence insofar as there would have been a clear understanding that in a tight parliament that you needed to have discipline, and it's clear that the organisation, that the Liberal and National Party organisation, is not there working in the interest of the parliamentary leadership. It's there to basically enact revenge on people that it doesn't support in the end. And what we've had
it does seem a bit odd, this comment, Ed, this comment from Mr. Slipper that he would not have accepted the position if it was going to guarantee the government's endurance. It certainly added to the endurance capacity of the government, hasn't it?
Well, look, I mean, I'm not Peter Slipper's spokesperson. I think Mr. Slipper is more than capable of being able to talk about the issues that he's put out in the public space. And having seen one thing I know for sure, and I've been on the receiving end of his calls in the main committee and in the House, he will, without fear or favour, ensure that there is a orderly question time, that there is no quarter given in terms of trying to ensure that the place runs smoother. I nicknamed him Iron Man in the main committee, and I certainly think that Iron Man's given a blast to the Liberal National Party on the way through.
Kieran, can I just say, I find it very amusing that Ed is trying to portray the Labor Party as one big happy family. We've got Julia Gillard and Kevin Rudd at each other's throats, and we've got Julia Gillard announcing big policy decisions the day that Kevin Rudd leaves the country. So you are completely dysfunctional on your side. You've got this unspoken about leadership battle that's currently underway. Ed, please tell us which side you're on, because it's all going to come to a head pretty soon.
Oh, I'm on the side of a government that's strong, that's working well, that's delivering for the country, and that's what we've got, and you ain't got it on your side, and I think you've got a basket full of problems that you know you'd like to distract general attention from.
Gents, I just want to drop in. So we've got live from the Hornsby Railway Station a news conference with New South Wales Premier Barry O'Farrell and the Leader of the House, Anthony Albanese. Let's just dip into it now.
And it will be delivered.
Premier, have you officially informed Mr Albanese whether you will be paying the first tranche of money into the Epping Parramatta rail, as per the MOU Premier Keneally signed?
Well, our views on that are well known, Imre. Those things I will wait. I won't do what I would normally do in the old days, just talk through the...
approximately 3 minutes.
Imre,
service to Newcastle, departing platform 5, delayed by approximately 3 minutes.
Our views on that project are well known. The Minister for Transport here has made clear her views. We are here today, though, talking about what is a great project for the existing Sydney rail network, which is our priority, a great project for passengers on that network, and a great project for more movement of freight on rail in and around this city.
What's your view on this? You've been able to do a deal on this that the former Labor government in New South Wales couldn't do. Can you sit down, break bread together and do a deal on Parramatta, Wapping or North West Rail?
Look, my view is the same as what the Premier has said. We're here today to make a very positive announcement. And one of the things about Sydney rail and in terms of infrastructure in general is that sometimes the most important projects aren't the ones that get the headlines. There is no more important project for Sydney than separation of passenger and rail freight. Not just are we engaging in this activity from here, but also the work that is occurring on the southern Sydney freight line, the work that the government...
A new freight announcement, multi-million-dollar freight announcement for Sydney with the Transport Minister and the New South Wales Premier. If you'd like to watch it, you can do that via Multiview. Just press red. I want to come back to our panel, Josh and Ed, for one last issue. The Japanese fleet apparently has left its home port for the Southern Ocean. The Sea Shepherd founder, Paul Watson, calling on the government to send a customs vessel to monitor this year's fleet and confrontation. Ed, why not?
Look, we, in actual fact, have taken the strongest action of any government in taking Japan to the International Court of Justice to stop this practice of whaling. There is to tackle commercial whaling and also the so-called scientific whaling. We've taken strong action on this. In years past, we actually did send vessels out for the purpose of collecting evidence to help our legal case. We've done that previously, and we continue to call on the Japanese government to take a strong stand in, they know the feeling about this. They know that people want to see an end to whaling. I can't see why you need to go out and effectively kill whales to see how they live. I don't see what purpose that serves whatsoever. A lot of the Australian people have exactly the same view, and they need to see this practice end.
Josh, your colleague Greg Hunt has called on the government to send a vessel to the Southern Ocean. Doesn't that actually risk escalating the confrontation?
No, we need to reduce the confrontation in the high seas, and Greg is absolutely right to support sending a customs vessel, and let's just see whether Julia Gillard delivers on that. But the point is here, there's a massive gap between what the government says it does on whaling and what the government actually does on whaling. It says it's against commercial whaling, but what the WikiLeaks cables very conveniently revealed in 2010 was that the Gillard government was actually agreeing to legitimise Japan's commercial whaling behind the scenes. And that is just not acceptable. So why they say they're going to take Japan to the International Court of Justice, a process, may I say, which is going to take years, and this government's been sitting on the fence for the last 4 of them, and what they actually do in practice are quite different things. I'm against whaling, and I support what Greg is talking about in terms of setting a customs vessel.
You didn't do anything when you were in government on it, and then you bag us out when we actually do it. And you don't have a policy that actually...
Do you know about WikiLeaks?
There's a two-edged knife. That cuts both ways, Josh. I'd be careful about quoting WikiLeaks. The point I'm making is we've taken action. You guys never did. When we have taken action, you've criticised for us. And when the pendulum swings the other way, well, in come the convenience crew, finding another reason to be negative. Give us a break. You guys don't have a position on it.
Take action by sending a customs vessel to prevent the conflict on the high seas. A customs vessel,
what are we going to do? We're going to check that they have, they're not bringing fruit and veggies into Australia. I mean, give me a break. Customs
you're obviously missing, you're obviously missing the issue here.
No, I'm not missing the issue. What you're proposing is an action for the sake of an action. We took action to collect evidence for the purpose of in terms of the action we were taking in the International Court of Justice, which you guys don't seem to be able to actually work out. Do you support or don't support?
All right, gentlemen, I've got to wrap it up there. Thank you for that robust chat this Wednesday morning. As always, appreciate it. Ed Husic and Josh Frydenberg.
Thank you.
Kieran, thanks,
Ed. Josh.
And we're hoping to speak to the Sea Shepherd